Okay, I must be running. Oh, I just had a thought. Um, just had a thought about Trump. People keep referring to him as a great chess player. And as far as I know, he's not a chess player, or he's not really known for being a chess player. I've never seen anything that said that Trump was, a big chess player in his youth or something like that. Sometimes I think they're just talking about it allegorically, like he's a great chess player in the sense of he's a great strategist or what have you. A lot of people have been coming up with the theory that there is a plan and that it has a lot to do with a chess game. The thing in chess is that when you start off, you and your opponent, you've got equal chances. The game's wide open. And then as the chess game progresses, possibilities get much narrower. The route ahead gets narrower. And each move at that point becomes a major move that will or can change the outcome of the whole game. And I was reading the other day somewhere, somebody was talking about some of the computers that they've developed, especially at the National Security Agency. And they're very different from the state-of-the-art computers that surprised everyone 35 or 40 years ago when one of them beat the reigning chess champion of the world in a game. So man versus machine, that was the big thing about that happening. And he talked a little bit about how computing power and the structure of computers are set up in certain ways that would make them good chess players. But for that kind of artificial intelligence thinking capability. And again, this has to do with time and space. It has to do with looking down the road in time and beginning to see how that road narrows in the chess game. And so that's one kind of computational intelligence. And this article went on to say, but there is a different kind of computer that exists now that is on a different plane altogether from those, quote, old-fashioned, unquote, supercomputers of the recent past, let's say. Right? So the claim was made that the National Security Agency, by and large, is an agency of the federal government that has always remained true to and backed Trump. And that means that Trump and the people that he has with him, what they call the Patriots, Trump and the Patriots, these Patriots, which are his inner circle, they know about this kind of artificial intelligence. They've grown up in the generation where that was the thing that happened back when they were younger, and they all know about it. And it's still very secret as far as I know. But it's the best computer in the world. That's one thing that the United States has going for it over its adversaries overseas. And it's like one name that I've heard for it is quantum. It's a quantum computer. And the first letter in the word quantum is what? It's the 17th letter of the alphabet, Q. And there are a lot of people who believe that there is a super quantum computer that's being used by the Trump team in this chess game that they're having with their adversaries right now, the deep state. So it's the deep state versus Trump and his patriots. And of course, they're, David's up against a Goliath. It's a beautiful story in and of itself, like if it was a movie. And some people have compared what's happening to a movie, by the way. But as in the chess game, when you get further along in the game, the possibilities become narrower and narrower. And sometimes it happens very quickly if you're not seeing ahead as well as your opponent does. If they've been able to kind of do an operation on you, so to speak, kind of like a sting operation. Because there's a lot of kabuki theater in higher chess, all right? So anyway, so the theory is that Trump and the Patriots are going to win because they have a better computer and people who know what to do with that kind of computing power in terms of political, strategic, and even tactical warfare with an opponent. Because keep in mind, chess is primarily a game of war. It just came in there in the Middle Ages out of the East, and a lot of the knights and stuff played it. That's why you still see things like knights on horses and castles and all that kind of rooks and all that kind of stuff. So I have a feeling that Trump and the Patriots might be at the point where they have basically won the game and the enemy is beginning to realize that they have. See, that's another thing about chess. You don't immediately know that you've been defeated. But sometimes that's what happens. And in chess, there's no way out. Once you reach a certain point where you've, done something bad to your position, it's irretrievable, no matter what you do from then on. Period. Hasta la vista, baby. And so I think that's what has happened, or is happening. There are a lot of people like Jeff Prather who say that, everybody has a plan until the first bullet flies. And that's true, especially in strategic human combat. But this isn't human combat that we're talking about here. It's not like, another guy that once said everybody has a plan was Mike Tyson, the famous boxer. He said everybody has a plan for, how to win the game against your opponent in the ring until that first fist hits your face. so there's those kinds of sage advice about plans. But I think that Trump and the Patriots are operating in a completely different way from there. That's not a good analogy for what they're doing. Because like I said, this is supercomputer stuff. And the thing about quantum computers, it's different. And let's get back to that. The quantum computer is different from the one that beat the reigning chess champion. That's pretty damn good, though, to be able to be a computer that is programmed in such a way that you can win a chess game against the best person on the planet at that game, but a human being. But the quantum computer isn't like that machine. It's like horse and buggy days versus, a Ferrari or something. It's just totally different. It's on a different plane altogether. But like in chess, the thing that makes quantum so great is that it is so great. It has much more ability to not only just process moves like the old-fashioned machines did, but to actually begin to interpret things. It's a major step forward in artificial intelligence to get this computer to be able to interpret situations. The other one was it was all mathematical, chunk, kind of stuff. But since there was so much database behind those computers that played chess with the grandmaster, that was one thing. But it's almost computational in the sense of numbers, just crunching numbers, But this quantum computer, that's not what it's all about. It just sees into the future. Really. I mean, obviously nothing's perfect, but if you got like 85 or 90%, and the rest of it you're not going to know for a while as the game until the game progresses a little further. But what it does is it takes the margin of error out. If you got 85, 90% good, then you're only dealing with 10 to 15% not good, and that can be improved. I think it's called heuristic. When computers became modeled on the idea of a heuristic, what's the heuristic model, where it actually learns. So the machines are learning. Okay, well, that happened again with the old mechanical computer that played the chess game. But there's learning, and then there's learning. So we'll see. Just a thought that just came to me as I was standing here looking at the backyard and letting my mind wander, as it often does. And Elaine is in Stanwood, or was. She's probably left by now. Getting some Mexican food takeout, so we don't have to worry about that this evening as far as feeding ourselves. I think that's wonderful. That was such a great idea of hers. And it's getting getting darker and darker. Pretty soon I'm going to have to turn on my battery-operated lights. That's the one bad thing about these camp lights, is that they're usually run by batteries. I certainly didn't want to have like a flame in here, that kind of a light. So we'll see. Be interesting to see how long those batteries last. They're big, huge D batteries, and yeah, I've got a backup set, but how long would that last if they go fast? So we'll have to see. Oh, here I am in the living room looking at the lights.
Hi.
Oh, hi.